Let's create a daily morning routine for you. This is actually going to help you feel more energized, more relaxed, and not only that, it's going to make reaching your weight loss goals and health goals a lot easier. Now in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to put that routine together, and I'm also going to take you through my own morning routine as a registered dietitian and a dad to a 6-month-old and also an entrepreneur. So if you're ready to optimize your mornings with the specific routines that have helped hundreds of clients that I worked with reach their goals, make sure that you keep watching. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Andres here, and this week our video is all about morning routines, including why they're important, what mine looks like, and how you can create powerful and effective morning routines for yourself. But first, a quick introduction if you're new here. I'm Andres Ayesta. I'm a dietitian who works with working parents and career-focused entrepreneurs and busy professionals who are trying to improve their nutrition, lose weight, and ultimately show up as the best version of themselves every day. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure that you click that subscribe button below and also hit that little bell icon to be notified when my new videos go up live every single week. Now today I really wanted to talk about morning routines because creating my personal routine was the beginning of some huge changes in my life around 2018. This is actually the place I start with a lot of my clients also because what you do in the morning sets the tone for how the rest of your day is going to go. Change the habits in your morning and you can change the way that your entire day is going to go. I'll tell you what happened to me. A few years back, there was so many different things that I wanted to change about myself. I wanted to be in better shape, have a very successful business, make more of an impact in people's lives, and honestly, I just wanted to make more money. I was very frustrated because I knew what I needed to do, but I wasn't doing it consistently. I'd focus on my goals for a couple weeks before falling off track, and when I woke up in the morning, I used to jump right out of bed and get straight on my computer to start working and typing away because it felt like the most productive thing to do was just that. That's honestly what I really thought I needed to do to get to my goals. Or if I didn't really feel like working, I'll scroll through social media and start my day feeling distracted and like I already failed by wasting so much time. And honestly, when I was doing the whole social media scrolling the first thing in the morning, I was comparing myself and looking at everything that was going on in the world, and that was not really something that was making me too happy. So eventually I realized that these habits weren't working for me, but I didn't really know how to start changing them. Around this time, I remember this vividly. I read about Tony Robbins, and he was talking in his book about taking a cold plunge as part of his quote-unquote morning routine. And he talked about he has houses all around the world, and every single house, the one thing that is common is that he has a really small little plunge. Imagine this little hole, and it's always at 52 degrees. And that got me thinking, maybe I should start to create a routine on my own. And pretty soon, I realized that my morning routines actually transform my entire day. When I started implementing my morning routine every day, I started to eat better because I made time for my healthy breakfast, but it really put me on track with consistent meal throughout the day, but also felt happier and just more motivated because by the time that I started work, I already felt like I'd accomplished so much, and I was also prioritizing myself. I was putting me first. And then on top of that, I was able to prioritize learning and self-improvement because reading was part of like the original morning routine that I started. Now, I've had a morning routine for quite some time now, and it's something that I'm never going to give up, but it definitely has changed a little bit, especially when I became a dad about 6 months ago. So I figured that I would share before we share some tips for today, what my routine looks like these days. So usually I wake up between 5 and 6 a.m. because we have our son. The timing isn't always the same every single morning, but I prefer to get up as early as I can because that's the time where I can be just with myself and a little bit more focused without any type of distractions. For the first step of the day, I know that all parents can relate to this one. I make a cup of coffee. I'm a big fan of pour over coffee, and I got this set up with the Chemex that my wife got for me. The only day that I don't do that is typically Tuesdays, which is actually today because I come into my office early on Tuesdays to film YouTube videos. So I typically grab a Starbucks on the way. It's kind of like a nice little routine that I've had every single Tuesday, and I really enjoy it. Next up, I typically grab a journal, sit down with my coffee, and write some what I like to call morning pages. Usually this is for writing down anything that is on my mind to simply get it out on paper. I also typically write down some things that I'm grateful for to start the morning on a positive note. And I do this instead of immediately focusing everything that needs to get done during the day, so I can again focus on things that are not related to work. That takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Then usually I spend about 5-10 minutes doing some form of meditation or prayer or sometimes some breath work. Now after that, I get into a bit of a more structured planning for the day. What I like to do is I like to write down my top 3 priorities that I want to accomplish for that day. I keep a separate to-do list that has everything on it. I call it my brain dump. Everything goes in there of what I need to get done in a day, personal stuff, business stuff, everything. But I found out that choosing the top 3 priorities prevents me from getting more stressed out about trying to get everything done on that list. I rather aim for 3 and find that I can get more done rather than having an unrealistic list of 10 things that I want to do and then feel bad because I didn't really accomplish it. Now, this actually brings me to an important point I want to make. When you're trying to really design your morning routine, make sure you consider what is realistic for you every day. Most people occasionally have a day where they can spend extra time getting ready, but your morning routine should be maybe something that you can commit to almost every day. That means don't design the perfect routine that takes you 2 hours to do if you typically only have 15 minutes in the morning to dedicate to your routine. And this is probably the biggest mistake that I see people make when it comes down to routines. It's like they design this like super elaborate routine based on what they've seen all these influencers or celebrities doing. They can never complete it consistently enough to make it a habit. The other key to making this work is allowing your routine to adapt and change over time and not being so hard on yourself about that either. Before my son was born, it was easy for me to spend an hour on my morning routine. Now my routine takes about 20 to 30 minutes and sometimes it gets interrupted. And honestly, another big important point that I wanted to make here is that sometimes I don't do the perfect and all the routines every single day. Sometimes I'll do one piece of that and that makes me feel that I still did part of really what I need to do so I can keep the consistency thread going. The important thing is to show up consistently, like I said. Now, the last thing that I do once I'm all set with my 3 priorities is I typically just sit down to have some breakfast. Typically, I prep overnight oats the night before, so I have a quick breakfast ready to go in the morning. And after that, I'll get into my day, whether that's taking care of my son Maxie or maybe starting some work as well. Now that you've seen what my routine looks like, I want to give you my top 5 morning routine tips that I share with all of my clients so they can create a routine that fits their schedule and also brings them closer to their goals. Tip number 1 is to connect with yourself before connecting with the world. This is the way that I like to explain it. This means to try to stay off your phone, your social media, emails, news, because they will automatically distract you and take you out of that peaceful state that you're trying to create in the morning. When you're waking up in the morning, you're just trying to be calm, trying to start the day with ease. And if you're just bombarded with news and social media and what people are doing and what people are saying, it's going to start the morning a little bit stressed, I would say. Tip number 2 is to hydrate early. I usually have a glass of water along with my coffee. I try to start my morning with 8 to 16 ounces of water. This is actually why I have this little big boy in here so I can actually fill it up every single day. And the reason I do this is because you lose water when you're sleeping, so you're most likely going to be a bit dehydrated when you wake up. Tip number 3 is to start prioritizing your nutrition earlier in the day. This is why I like to finish my routine by having my prepped breakfast. I recommend that you come up with maybe some healthy breakfast ideas that you can prep the night before and you can make easily in the morning, and make sure that you leave enough time to eat it before you have to leave for work, or you can also bring it with you. I always ask my clients, well, if you commute and you need to bring your breakfast in the car, maybe a smoothie, maybe an option for you that takes 5 minutes to make, and then you can just take and eat it on your 20, 30, or 40-minute commute, depending on where you're going. The overnight oats for me, it's super easy, and it takes me 10 minutes to do it for the whole week on a Sunday. Now, if you want to snack that recipe, I have a free cookbook with 50 amazing recipes just like that one for you to try. See the description below if you want to grab it. Tip number 4, start small and work your way up. What I mean by this is don't try to add 10 habits to your morning all at once. Start by choosing maybe a wake up time and selecting one morning habit that you will complete. Then for a week, get up at that time and perform that habit. For example, maybe you decide you'll get up at 7 a.m. and journal for 10 minutes. Do this routine until it feels natural to you, and then consider maybe adding more habits one by one. I call this habit stacking. You start with one and then you start stacking new ones until like they become automatic. For me, journaling, meditation, and daily planning are my 3 core habits that I like to do, with coffee and breakfast on either end of that. You can have fewer habits than that and add more, but working up to 3 main habits, to me, I feel like it's a more helpful and realistic goal for many people. And finally, tip number 5 is to ask yourself what makes you excited to get up in the morning. Maybe you're not really pumped or excited to be waking up early, but you should at least enjoy everything you do in your morning routine. For example, if you hate yoga, don't plan to do 10 minutes of yoga in the morning just because somebody said that you're supposed to. Just because a routine works for some people doesn't mean that it's going to be the best routine for you. One last thing that I'm going to say about morning routines is like they all start the night before. What do I mean by that? Well, morning routines are not going to be anything if you don't wake up at the right time so you have enough time to be able to do it. And this happens, for example, if you're binge watching Netflix until late at night and then you're going to sleep through your alarm clock and then now you're just rushing through your mornings to try to get to work and try to get stuff done. This requires a lot of self-discipline because it's not like you have to show up for work at a specific time. It's something that you're doing for yourself. You need to create consistency and be self-disciplined about that process. Okay, so now it's time for the fun part, which is actually helping you design your own morning routine. The first thing you want to do is to think realistically about how much time you can dedicate to your routine in the morning and what time you actually want to wake up. Then choose 3 habits from the list that I'm going to give you. I actually have a morning routine cheat sheet that I love to send you that has all the habits that I'm going to mention in here. If you want that, just click the link in the description box as well, and I'll send it over too. Now, some options you may consider here are 1, making your bed, 2, reading 10 pages of a book, 3, journaling for 5 minutes, 4, meditating for 5 to 10 minutes, 5, stretching or yoga, 6, getting grounded by walking barefoot, maybe in your backyard if you have one, 7, daily planning or time blocking your calendar for the day, 8, maybe listening to uplifting music or perhaps maybe a podcast, 9, writing a list of 3 things that you're grateful for, performing a skincare routine, praying or devotionals if you're religious or spiritual, and then maybe going for a short walk outside. Remember, your morning routine isn't about getting as much done as possible in the first part of the day. Instead, all these habits will help you get into the mindset to create the kind of day that you want. Rather than rolling out of bed a few minutes before you have to leave for work and rushing through the rest of your day, waking up even 15 minutes early can make a huge difference in how your day goes. The last thing you might be wondering about morning routine is why they're so important when you have a goal for fat loss, if that is your goal, of course. Having a morning routine doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be in a calorie deficit and lose weight, or it's going to magically change everything in terms of how your metabolism works. Everything still works the same, whether you do a morning routine or not. But when it comes to fat loss, nutrition is only one part of the picture. Your morning routine can help you reach your goals through the impact that it has on your eating habits, your movement, and your mindset. For example, establishing a morning routine can set the tone for a day of productivity and a positive mindset. When you're more productive, you're able to make more time for healthy eating and exercise. Another benefit is that your morning routine can help you reduce stress and help you become more mindful, which can also help prevent the emotional eating habits that maybe are keeping a lot of people stuck at their current weight. So if weight loss is a goal for you, I highly recommend getting started with the morning routine because it'll make all the difference in the world. And that's a wrap for today, guys, in today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to head to the description box so you can get a copy of my morning routine cheat sheet, which is really going to help you out as you're putting together this routine for yourself. Also, remember that I included in there the cookbook that we have for free that has 50 of our recipes that we developed over the years, me and my wife. As always, leave any questions for me in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them for you. And make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and I'll see you in next week's video. Bye for now.